What's going on, everybody? Paddle and Fin has got a meetup going down October 16th through 18th at Eastport Marina and Resort in Alpine, Tennessee, which falls right on Dale Hollow. What we're going to be doing is just hanging out, fishing. Depending on the number of people that show up and the interest, we may do a small tournament. We will have some stuff to give away. Saturday evening, we're going to do a hangout and a little barbecue action. We'll have food for everybody. If you're looking for lodging, you could stay right at the resort. It's $50 per person per night. And what you get is your own personal bedroom on a houseboat, luxury houseboat, courtesy Eastport Marina. That's a special price they gave us to lend to our listeners. If you want more info on the resort, you can go to eastport.info and their website will pop up there. You'll see all the houseboats and things like that. A majority of our hosts are going to be there, and we would love to spend some time on the water with you.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts, Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. You're listening to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brad. Jimmy filling in tonight. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? Glad to be back again.
Yeah, it's become a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Enjoy hanging out with you, man.
Everybody needs more me.
Yeah.
Listen to me more than once a week. It's flattering.
Hey, I enjoy it, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But tonight we have a cool guest on the line, Brad Whitaker from Whitty Outdoors. He is a angler in Ohio. Won the smalljaw brawl. If you guys missed the episode, we talked about it about a month ago, I think, with 3 other local anglers in Ohio. So Brad won the smalljaw brawl for July, right?
August.
Yep. Okay, yeah. I think it was the end of August. I had Ryan, Jason, and Matt on to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start out by you giving us a little background of yourself, how you got into fishing and what kind of boat you're on and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I got into fishing before I could even remember. Just family always fished. My dad, my grandparents, uncles. I mean, pretty much our family just grew up on the water fishing, hunting and stuff. So I was fishing before I could even remember. Started bass fishing more and more when I got to be like a teenager, 13, 14. And then by the time I was 16, 17, I was just ate up with bass fishing. And started tournament fishing even when I was about 20, about 19, 20 years old. Started fishing some of the local tournaments and stuff around here. And just, keep going with it more. Right now, I'm actually running 2 boats. I got a 21-foot Stratus and a 17-foot bass tracker with a jet drive on it.
So, I know which one you're taking up the river.
Yes, sir. I've fished in my Stratus many times on the river, but you can't get very far with it. So
right.
Fiberglass and rocks and a foot of water don't mix too well.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, yeah, I think I might have ran into you actually now that you say something about the jet boat. Where was I? I was north of Dayton. I'm thinking it was above Island Metro Park. Are you up in that area ever?
Not very much, but I got another buddy that runs a jet around here also. He runs a Black Legend. He fishes up there north of Dayton a little bit.
That might have been him. So me and one of my other buddies, we were on the river. He was one side, I was the other, and this guy just came busting through, and I just looked over at him. I was like, "What was that?" I didn't even see the boat. I just felt the wake, and I saw him
on one of the railroad bridges where the old that's what it was, where the old Moraine Dam was. Right there in between Moraine and Dayton, where they ripped out that old DP&L dam.
Yeah.
I thought I went past you one day right there fishing.
Oh, you might have. No, I remember. Yeah, I think that was earlier this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember you doing that. Now that you say that, that's funny.
Yeah, because I had to shut down and idle through. I'm like, man.
Yep, that was you. We were just putting in right there, going down.
Okay.
Sweet.
That's like
Yeah.
honest to God, that's the worst thing when guys idle down when they see us. Like that, like if you come through just idling, it's so much worse.
Yeah, but Brad knows what I'm talking about. There really ain't much room here.
Yeah. Our rivers are pretty skinny and not very deep.
Hey man, the rule is the bigger guy wins, so you're just out of luck, Brad. Y'all just gotta scoot over.
It did, like I said, I didn't care, I mean, I'm cool with all the boaters and stuff.
Yeah.
The river's tiny, so we were just putting in. Not a big deal.
Yeah, so I run into a lot of guys kayaking, get into a lot of good, interesting conversations, and a lot of people looking at me really funny, going, "How did you get a boat here?"
Let me show you.
Why? They're like, "We had to drive our kayaks twice to get here. How did you get here in a boat?"
Yeah, so talk about that jet boat a little bit. How many inches of water do you need?
I'm good with about 4 inches for only a certain amount of time before I've banged enough stuff and lost momentum, but 6 inches all day long.
That's awesome. I'd
Like
to
there's
try.
days I carry so much gear in my kayak, 6 inches isn't enough. That's what she said.
Yeah, I think the kayak I have right now, you can only float 3 to 5 inches.
That Pursuit?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
drafts shallow, dude.
Yeah.
It's all about balance because it's so long at 13.5. But like you get right in the middle and get your weight distributed, that Pursuit needs no water under it for real. It sits so high up.
Yeah, I'm probably a little off balance, but
Oh, I like it weight in the back because you turn better. You can cut corners real tight. But it's nothing like going up the river in a jet boat, banging off rocks, and it's always interested me. I saw a video of guys doing that in Alaska when they're beating them aluminum V-holes up. Like I don't care what we're going to do. I just need to ride and do that one time. I know that's got to make some scary noises under that boat. Like, well, there went $10,000. Oh, there's another hole. Like,
well, I've had to drop it off at the welder a few times. I mean, that's part of the game for it, man. I mean, that's what you got the boat for.
I love it.
Yeah.
You hit it, you got I put an automatic bilge pump in there. Every now and then it kicks on. You're like, yep, that's going to have to go to the welder later on.
Oh, jeez. So we had this Smalley Talk podcast host come on a while back, Josh Shrinko, and he sent me a video of him jetting up the White River in his jet boat. This video, all you see, they're just cruising through this riffle, and all of a sudden, boom, the whole camera shakes. He ends up busting something on the bottom. I was like, that's
the cowling off, hit a rock with the jet foot, and the back cowling pops off, and I've fished it out of the river a couple times. And I mean, that's what you get it for, though. That's what I bought it for, is to run shallow water, and that's what I do with it. So
that's cool. That's cool.
There's times that I've actually gotten out, walked through the riffle that I'm getting ready to run through to make sure it's deep enough.
Oh, really?
It's like, oh, water got to my ankles. Send it.
Yep.
I love it.
And then you got to find about a foot of water so you can stop.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Drafts. A lot
you
can run in. So
yeah. It's pretty important to know what the river, stretch of river you're on with one of those. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Me, 15 minutes, I'd have it in somebody's backyard or something like. Like, oh, sorry, folks, I missed the turn.
So let's talk about the small jaw brawl a little bit. What's that?
I said I get a lot of interesting looks from people, and then the first time you take a buddy that hasn't been out and ran and stuff that shallow and everything, they're like, "We're going to do this."
It's like when you're coming up to it and you're like, "Hey, you see that, right? Hey, you see that, right?"
You know where I'm talking about. You know the water features in Dayton.
Yeah.
I started running through them last year.
The whitewater features? Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I need to link up and go for a ride, Brad. You need to tell me how this is.
I was gonna say I got some on my YouTube channel.
Like the
YouTube channel for our business, Whitty Outdoors, and I think I've got that video on there. I'm not sure, but if not, I got it on my private YouTube channel, and I need to start moving all that stuff over to our business one.
That's awesome. I'm gonna check it out. So Jimmy, the thing he's talking about, it's like a whitewater feature for whitewater kayaks, and it looks like a low head dam a little bit in spots. and when it's really low, it gets crazier. And I tried it going down at my kayak. I was like, I ain't doing this.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't do that in a kayak with all my fishing gear in it.
Oh
way.
no. But yeah, you shooting up with that blows my mind.
Oh yeah,
I need to see this.
It's like a low head dam. I'm not even joking.
I just wrote it down because like I need to see that.
So let's talk about the small jaw brawl. Month-long tournament. What? I think there was 6 fish limit, and yeah. What was your total inches for that?
Total inches was 114.75, so 114 inches and 3/4.
What is that a average?
But 18
for 19, I think.
Ooh,
that's pretty good.
No, that's a lot better than pretty good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think my smallest fish out of the 6 was like an 18.25. I had a 20 and then a few 19s, and then I think it was like, can't remember if I had an 18.5 still in there and an 18.25, or if it was all 19 or a 20, all 19s, and then a 18. I'm not sure, but yeah, kind of towards the last week, you go out fishing, you're like, man, all right, catch a good one, put it on the board at 17. You're like, man, that's awesome. That didn't help me bit, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I can't say I've ever had that problem.
Well, you get a month, so you know.
Yeah,
that's true. Every time I get in a month event, it's like everything falls apart and I have to work. I got in 2 KBF monthlies this year. Literally never wet a line on either one of them because as soon as I paid my registration, signed up, work let loose, and well.
I was kind of pushing it on mine. We actually had our first child on August 30th. So how much I was going to be fishing leading up to it. I'm like, if I get 2-3 weeks in, I was like, I'll be pretty good. I mean, I'll try to get out a few times, and if I do good, that's great. If not, it's a good fun thing to kind of do here around the house. We got the river so close to us where I live at, and I just thought it'd be fun to do it, and never really kept track.
He was out there catching 20-inch smallmouth, FaceTiming his wife. Like, just push, honey.
I'm like, we still got a few hours, right? I can make it.
Look, call me when they see the head. I'll be there in 20.
That's funny. So the areas they just honey holes, or you just float along? How do you do that?
I look for a lot of current breaks, especially summertime. August was when the tournament was. I mean, I'm looking for current breaks. I'm looking for anything that goes from, a foot of water to that 2.5 foot right below a ripple, something like that. Or just all those nice little eddies where you got one bigger rock sitting, in 2.5 foot of water, leaving that little current break right behind it, just trying to fish all those seams. That's really what I do come summertime. And then with the jet drive boat, it allows me to just keep bouncing from one to the other and just cover a ton of water. I know I leave plenty of fish behind because I don't fish all the areas, because I have the luxury of that with the jet. So I try to cover, the highest percentage areas and fish them. I look for aggressive fish. I normally power fish. I'll throw a spinning rod every now and then when I really, really have to. Caught one during the tournament that I saw. I saw it cruising up a gravel bar and, threw a wacky rig out by it and it ate it. And it was like a 16.5-inch fish that helped me at the time. But I only do that when I have to. If I can power fish, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
it's crazy with smallmouth. I've kind of seen the same thing here fishing moving water because I fish it basically just like you were saying, just obviously slower since I'm not in a jet boat. But I've seen them cruising before, and I don't know if it's just smallmouth's nature. Like when I see a cruising smallmouth, I can throw a wacky rig and they'll at least turn and look at it. You see cruising largemouth around here and they're focused. They don't care what you're doing, what you're throwing. If they're cruising normally around here, I don't even try. But it's just crazy. You said that's when I pick up my spinning rod, and that's when I throw my wacky rig when I'm smallmouth fishing. When I see a cruiser, it's kind of crazy.
There's been a lot of times I've seen fish cruising, and sometimes they'll blow up on a spinnerbait or a square bill or a buzzbait or a topwater. But it seems like when you see them cruising like that, if you can throw that little wacky rig or something small, more finessey by them, it seems like it gets the bite the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Fishing them.
Yeah. That's interesting because right now they're cruising the river right now, and I think I might try to throw one of those out there just to give it a shot.
It's like that's the only time I'm confident throwing at cruising fish, like dead serious. Is if I see smallmouth cruising in the in the moving water like he's talking about, or if like a lot of times I come downstream and turn back up. I'll come downstream and turn back to catch one of the current seams, and you'll see one like cruise either out or in, and I just throw in that general direction a few times and can usually pick that fish up. It just seems to work. It's kind of crazy. It's just I've never heard anybody else talk about it. It's so funny that he said exactly that, and that's exactly what I've been doing. So it sounds like I should just come up there.
You should, man. I've never thrown a wacky rig in the river. I've never even thought about it.
Only do it a handful of times, but I do keep one normally rigged up and sitting right by my feet just in case.
Do you throw it just completely weightless, or are you throwing one of the wacky like jig rig things or whatever they call it?
We throw it completely weightless.
Okay.
And honestly, like I said, I don't do it a lot, but I do have one rigged up most of the time for those times when I see them. If I see them like that, I'm going to throw one.
Like a 5-inch Cinco or something, or what?
Yeah, it's like a 5-inch gray pumpkin Cinco.
That's my color.
It works. I mean,
I hate to say that I've probably caught more fish on that than anything I've ever thrown ever. Like, but if it's a bad day, green pumpkin Cinco. If it's a good day and you're needing a better bite, green pumpkin Cinco. Like, it calls the weather breaks, green pumpkin Cinco. It just works.
The funny thing is, my bag of Cincos in that boat's probably about 3 years old. So
I don't think I get through a day with the same bag of Cincos.
Like I said, I only throw it under those certain circumstances when I see the fish.
Jesus, that's crazy.
When I see them, I throw it at them. But if I don't see them, I'll leave that sucker on the deck and go find some active ones. I'll go find some on an ambush point.
Yeah, so the summer pattern, man, you got it pretty much figured out. A lot of, actually not just me, but there's a lot of guys that tend to struggle in the summertime, and all you're doing is just find those current breaks.
I mean,
fast
for the most
moving
part,
water.
Sometimes it's faster water, sometimes it's slower water. If the water's dirty or if it's clear, it just kind of those spots change. It seems like I had one awesome day on a Whitty -1, which is a bait I made. I put the video up there on the Small Jaw Brawl Facebook group, where I had 4 over 17 inches all come up and smoke at me. And the water was dirty. It was about 1.5 feet or so of visibility that day. And those fish was in the slower water, but they was still by those current breaks. They was still by those lay down logs, a big rock laying down in the water. And I just knew where those places was from fishing it previous times. Mm-hmm. And, I'd throw that bait right over it and they would just come up and uncork on it.
Wow.
That's awesome. See, summer pattern's probably the only smallmouth, especially fishing moving water. That's probably the only smallmouth pattern I have figured out. And like you were saying, him having it figured out and people struggling, I me and him attack it exactly the same so far from what he said. Current seams and power fishing. I have seen, I don't know, maybe if you could attest to this, I've had, when you've had a good rain and the water, the speed picks up,
mm-hmm.
I always can find them in a hole. Like if it comes through a riffle and you find a deep hole, you'll find them just stacked up right there. And, I totally changed. Like I threw a swim bait and spinner bait and all sorts of stuff through there a million times. And I was like, well, let's slow down. And then I just started picking them off. And then I'd go upstream, find another, where the hole was deeper because the water was up and faster, and I'd pick them out of there again. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, and a lot of times with your river and even creek smallmouths, I learned that when I was a teenager wading, is a lot of times they're not in kind of the middle of that hole. They're right up there at the very beginning of it, or all the way back on the very tail of it.
And that's honestly probably what it was when I was catching them, because all I was doing was basically throwing up in the current and I'd let it come down. I know there's a hole there, and I know I was catching them in the same spot, but I can't really say because of the visibility exactly where at in that hole I was, but I know it was either, like you said, on a leading or tailing edge of it, or in the middle, but it was something about that feature, and they were just stacked up on it.
They sit right underneath those holes like that where those riffles stop. I mean, you get a little bit of a current break there, where when you get just a little bit of a depth change, that gives them a little bit of an eddy. You can't see it because it's right there on the very bottom of of the waterway, but that gives them just a little bit of slack water to sit there and wait in for something to come over their head from that fast water. And, they'll sit there when they're aggressive, and, you find them stacked up like that. Like you said, a lot of times they're stacked in a place like that because they're all there.
That's something I try to tell everybody that is like going out, especially like people around here. They see someone else catch smallmouth and they go after it. Largemouth, when they're schooling, it's that way. But a lot of the time you'll catch, one good one here or one good one there. With smallmouth, I keep it in my head that they travel in packs. They have like little wolf packs that they hang out in. And like I've been on the Collins River briefly on the Tennessee, and got to see that day the water was real clear. It was like a 4-foot creek, was like 4-pounders just cruising together. And then I'd go up a little more, and then you'd not as big, but you'd see a couple 2-pounders, but there'd be 4 or 5 of them cruising together. And I like seeing that just like drilled that in my head. It's like, if you find one, you probably found a few, and they're so aggressive that it's not like you catch one and they spook out. Like, I would almost say they're stupid because they're like, where'd Ted go? Oh, look at that.
They are stupid because, I mean, like during the spawn and stuff and pre-spawn, man, they seems like they just attack whatever you throw at them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're real easy to pick off those times of the year.
Don't tell too many people. More people are going to start fishing for them.
I don't think we have. Well, we have that problem here. Everybody fishes for them here since there's not many lakes, but it is what it is. So you want to get into some of your baits that you make?
Yeah.
How long you been doing that for?
We started Whitty Outdoors in 2018, so we're a little over 2 years old now. So still trying to get our name out there and get our product out in front of a lot of people, So always helps. The small draw brawl is definitely good for me locally. A lot of local guys around on the river going, "Hey, how are you catching all them things, man?" And I mean, honestly, in the small draw brawl, the 6 that I put in, I caught them all on our crankbaits, either on the -1 that we make or the regular square bill that we make. I had a couple throughout the tournament. Like I said, I had the one on a wacky rig that I caught. It was on there for a little while, but it didn't make my final 6. Caught a couple on a spinnerbait. Again, didn't quite make the final 6, but the biggest 6 that I had in that tournament was all on baits that we made, which was something that was really awesome to me. To do that on our product.
So since I'm not the local here, so are you only making crankbaits and or treble baits? I would say, crankbait.
Yeah. Right now, essentially, we're making that body shape right now. Actually, we got 2 body shapes because I got a flat side also, but this one is a -1 version, which just the only thing that's different between this one and our normal square bill. Let me grab one of our normal ones right here. Is just the bill shape.
Oh yeah.
And that angle.
Man, I need that one.
But
I'm
a sucker for black and blue anything.
Me too, man. Me too.
I don't know if I've ever seen a black and blue crankbait.
Yeah, there's some out there.
I've seen some jerk baits. And
Sixth Sense has one.
But
Sense has one close to this. Bandit was the first one that I remember throwing back in the early 2000s. I mean, just a black with a blue flake Bandit. Yeah. And it didn't matter if the water was clear or if it was dirty. That's the weird thing about the black and blue color around here. They'll bite it in gent clear and they will bite it in mud. I mean, it's just weird.
It's so funny you brought this up because I just had a discussion with a fellow podcast listener just recently, actually this past weekend, and he was like, "Oh, black and blue don't work in clear water." I was shaking my head at my phone. I was like,
"You could throw black and blue in moving lava and catch fish." Like,
dude,
black
and
blue
in every
just
color.
Works. Just like another color that doesn't make sense, bubblegum pink.
Yeah.
You throw bubblegum colors anywhere. They work no matter what the water looks like.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, at a tackle show, we did one in Lawrenceburg 2 years ago. And the guy was asking me, he was like, "Hey, I was asking, talking about the crankbaits and everything." He goes, "What is one of your favorites?" I said, "Honestly, that black and blue is just a straight up sleeper." I was like, "No one hardly throws it." I was like, "It don't matter if it's clear water, dirty water, whatever." I said, "If I got a shad color, I want a black and blue one, and depending upon watercolor, maybe a chartreuse and black or something." But I'm like, the black and blue will play on any watercolor. And guy got a hold of me about a month later or so and ordered some. And later on that summer, he's like, "You're not kidding about that black and blue." He's like, "There's no bad time for it." He's like, I was like, "I don't know what it is." I was like, "Either they eat it or they don't eat it, but it doesn't matter on the other conditions." I'm like, clear water, dirty water, I don't run into it being a problem, but just some days they just don't quite want it. So, you throw more of your natural colors then, but I about always got one tied on and sitting and give it a shot and see if
yeah.
it works that day.
So what kind of depth range? You said there's square bill. I mean, and obviously you showed it to us, but for people listening, it's square bill. What kind of depth ranges are we running?
The regular square bill here is about 3 to 4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of, a long cast on 12-pound fluorocarbon. You stick your rod down and stuff. You can get them down to about 4 foot. A lot of average casting, you get something like that on it. And, I do some fishing down on like the Ohio River and stuff too, largemouth fishing there. And I'll throw them on 20-pound test and making short target casts. And, it only gets down to about 2.5 feet then. But the other one I showed you there, that the -1, it gets about 1.5.
How
about
much?
18 inches, about a foot to a foot and a half deep. Hence the -1 name for it.
Yeah.
A lot of times with that one, I'll throw it almost like a topwater bait. I mean, I'll throw it on 20-pound mono, keep my rod tip up, and literally wake it right there along the surface. And it is just absolutely fun when any bass comes up and smokes topwater, right?
Which for people listening right now, that's a heck of a fall tactic too.
Oh yeah.
Wake baits have their place in the fall.
And I will say, don't count it out in the summertime, because I think I put 4 of my biggest 6 in the small jaw brawl all on that -1 also.
That's awesome.
So
Interesting.
come up, have a 4-pound smallmouth blow up on that thing, and it will wake you up.
How exactly do you work those the -1?
I will do it. I will literally cast it out, and normally I'll hold my rod up, it up at about a 10 o'clock position or something like that. And with 20-pound mono, it'll only get, I'll only let it get 2 inches under the water or something like that. When I can get them eating that top water. If I'm fishing some shallow flats or something, I might stick my rod down, and then that bait will get down about 10, 12 inches. But I love it when they come up smoking on top. So if I can get them to do that, I'm going to.
Yeah. So are you? So you're holding your rod tip up? Are you just like reeling it slowly or pausing?
Slow, sometimes fast. Just really depends upon the day on that one. I typically will just do a constant retrieve every now and then, kind of shake or pop my rod just to give it that little bit of a burst or whatever. Sometimes that'll cause a reaction strike for sure. Especially if you're throwing right where, you're coming over the top of a big rock or something. You come right in, start hitting that eddy, and nothing hits it within that first foot. Take and just kind of twitch it for just a second. And sometimes that'll trigger that smallmouth to come unglued. And just come
give me so many ideas. Like, totally new way to fish it that I've not done. So
I've done that with a spinnerbait for a long time, but it works on a crankbait too.
He sells these baits in downtown Dayton shop called Fisherman's Headquarters, and that's only like 10 minutes away from me. So I need to make my way over there. Buy some.
Do you have an online store too, or you just do it there?
On a website, whittyoutdoors.com. And then, as Brad said, if you're here in the Dayton area, Dayton, Ohio area, we're in Fisherman's Headquarters, and I'm trying to work with a couple other shops around here to get into. I've been Fisherman's Headquarters since the 90s, so I've been just a while down there, and a bunch of great guys down there.
That's a good shop, man. I love they service reels, and they're good all around. I like them.
Heck yeah.
Yep. And then one of the other models that we got is a flat 6. This is our Whitty flat 6. This guy will get about 5 to 7 feet.
I love a flat side. Whoo.
And it's a little bit of that tighter wiggle. So whenever you're getting into that wintertime fishing,
you cannot beat flat sided in cold weather.
Yep. I mean, I've caught plenty of smallmouth in it in the summertime too, just because I was fishing a deeper hole and I wanted a bait to get down a little bit deeper. I mean, the flat side to me, bread and butter is wintertime, early spring.
So that bait kind of reminds me of like a cross between a rattle trap and a crankbait. Is that what that is, basically?
Yeah, it's got a lot more vibration than a rattle trap.
Mhm.
It's more, I would say, more along the lines of kind of closer to like a shad wrap, honestly.
Yeah.
Mass
Okay.
produced.
That's what
It's-
typically it's crazy that you get more, like you said, more vibration, but they have less movement. Because if you watch like you said, Brad, a rattle trap, rattle trap comes through the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Like some of them come through just whacking
Real-
both sides.
Real fast.
Yeah, but they're chattering and the weights are keeping them at a different balance and everything. And I don't know about yours, but most of the flat sided I've used, they're silent and they just have this tight wiggle, but you can feel it just doop, 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 doop,
Yep.
doop.
Mine's a little bit more aggressive than a lot of the other flat sides out there, just because I like a little bit more thump personally. So,
Mhm.
make the bait, I made it the way that I really
Heck
liked
yeah.
it. So, I mean, just part of it. But I've actually got a tungsten weight transfer system in here.
Hmm.
And then it also gives it a one knocker sound. I don't know if it'll come through or not.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a real loud rattle. It's just kind of that subtle thud.
And that tungsten thud on a one knocker is like deep and from all the research you read about on it, it travels. So you can
Yep.
call them in from further away.
Yep, it's not that higher pitch, higher frequency that you get with the the mass produced plastic baits. So it's a little bit different sound out there. I do that with all of our baits. The regular Whitty and the Whitty -1 all have that tungsten weight in there that rattles and also moves from the belly to the back as you cast it. That way it doesn't tumble as bad while you're casting too, unlike a lot of the other handmade balsa baits. So
Heck
it
yeah.
makes us different.
Yeah,
So
that
are
one looks
your
cool.
On
Go
the
ahead, bro.
silent too. And I did put one of the fish in that small draw brawl in this color that I haven't even got a name for yet. I've been playing with that color a little bit this summer. It's kind of in between like a cellmate color from Spro and like a oh shoot, what was that color? Oh, what is it? Oh, it's one that Sixth Sense make, but it has kind of a purple back and it's a more chartreuse side. This one's kind of in between both of those. It's got a little bit of hint of chartreuse to the side, real faint, and then kind of that grayish purple back there.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
Heck,
this
no, mine
one's
will go broke.
completely silent. So I've got the same weight in there, but I've got it anchored in place. So
Nice.
That-
That one looks cool.
yeah, that one I should hopefully get some more colors and get some more silent ones made up this winter and have them ready to go before show season. So I've been
Yeah.
kind of playing with that one, making sure I'm happy with it all summer.
Speaking of show season, which shows are you gonna, or what are you planning on?
This year we're just going to stay local. We did just have, my wife and I had a baby here at the end of August, so we don't really want to travel too much this winter. But we're planning on doing the Tri-State Outdoor Show, which will be at the I think it's the Butler County Fairgrounds there in Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're also going to do the Cincinnati Fishing Expo.
Awesome.
Which-
I was hoping you'd be there. I'll be at that one.
Yeah,
I actually
yeah,
think
I
I'm
was-
going to make it up for that one, so that'll be cool.
yeah. Last year was the first year they did it, and it was a really good show.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed with it. Had a really good turnout. We did good in the booth and just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's that whole show was awesome. I was in the booth for Loveland Canoe and Kayak, and we sold like 11 kayaks 2 days that weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was awesome. Yeah, you
Yeah.
go into those things, you're not thinking that you're going to sell a kayak, you're just there to show them off, but people are like, hey, I want that. All right.
Yeah, no, that was the same experience. I worked a Hook One booth at the East Tennessee show, and I thought it was all for show. Like I didn't know till I was helping set up. Like they were setting up a register, and I was like, oh. And we sold 22 boats just at the expo, and we had I can't remember. I think we had like a 40 by 20 booth or something. We had a huge booth. We were selling
Jeez.
accessories, and Gadget was set up with us. He was selling stuff faster than he could put it together, and
Mm-hmm.
Was that
it was
last?
just yeah.
Okay, we was down there last year.
Well, it was
I was
the
down at East
beginning of
Tennessee
this
show.
year. It was February this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we was down there. We didn't make it down on Thursday. We was there from Friday to Sunday.
Where were you set up at?
We was over by the Bass Cat boats. I can't remember the marine dealer, but
I don't
as
know
you
how I
came
missed
in,
you, man.
oh yeah, where was y'all at?
So if you came in the technical main entrance,
Yeah.
there's only like 5 booths set up in there. If you walked in and went left, we were on the back left corner. We had the biggest kayak set up. We had like 15 boats on display at a time,
Nice.
and we were set up in between 2 giant tackle dealers, and it all kind of worked out. But I walked around that place. I worked all 4 days. I walked around that place. I don't know how I did not catch your stuff, and now I'm mad because that means I missed something.
I might have seen your booth too at Cincinnati. I just can't remember exactly.
Yeah, Cincinnati, we was about the second row back, close to the hog trough over there, where they had that set up.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Cincinnati. And then, yeah, East Tennessee, we was over there. Man, I can't remember that marine dealer, but there was a Bass Cat dealer because we had one of the Bass Cats set up just directly across from us. And then next to them was the Sea Arc boats because they had
and then they were right down from Vexus, weren't they?
Down.
I think they were right down from the Vexus boats because the Vexus had the whole back corner because they had ridiculous amount. That's crazy. I can't believe I missed that, man. I'd have gone. I say I would have gone broke. I did go broke. I spent so much money at that show.
It is rough when you go to the shows, man, especially when you're spending that many days at them. You're like, ooh, I'm going to go walk around and, hey, look what I came out.
I spent 3 days working the whole thing, and then I came in Sunday and was like, all right, time to spend money. And that was a terrible idea. I was buying dumb stuff. I was buying beef jerky from like people making their own beef jerky. And
that is not dumb stuff.
Well, I don't think that's dumb.
It's not dumb, but the amount of money I was paying for jerky, that was dumb. Yeah. I was going around with one of our other Hook One Pro guys, buying giant stripe baits, buying topwater plugs this big to catch 50-pound stripe. Still haven't done it. But he was like, yeah, that'll work. I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Hey, you'll have it like 40 years from now, and you'll tell your kids like,
oh, it's just hanging on the wall right now. It looks cool.
Yeah. You'll pass it down to them. Hey, try to catch a fish with this.
I need to get you one of my big display lures because I had a couple of big display lures. I made some that were like 15 inches on my display, and then I had one at the very top of my booth, which I think I measured it. I think I made it like 22 or 24 inches.
That's awesome.
Dude, I'll put that thing on a 100-pound braid and throw it. That's awesome.
I got to say one thing right now. One of our listeners, Nick Nicrelli, he always hashtags his pictures shark hooks. And that reminds me of him for some reason.
No, that'd be awesome. I'm looking for stuff like big lures, and then I'm getting into the antique lures and stuff like that. I'm wanting to like do up my tackle room with that. That stuff's expensive for anybody that has not looked into that. Holy crap.
Yeah.
You paid 15 cents for this, dude. I ain't giving you $20 for that wooden crankbait. Go ahead, Brett.
I was just gonna get back to the lures. What's your prices on them?
We're $22 for the regular square bill, and then $22.50 for the flat side. Just because they are all handmade. It takes a lot of time. Just kind of the nature of the beast on that part of it.
That's Jimmy. I know you're gonna say something.
No, I was gonna let you go. I was just wanting to know about like the build process. I mean, I don't give away
that's what I was gonna say.
But I just want to know, like, you say they're handmade. Like, how in depth handmade are we talking?
I buy a big piece of material and cut it down to what you actually see.
Really?
Wow. So you're not buying and painting a blank. You are.
No.
That is awesome.
These are all right there. I mean, essentially on that bait right there, the only things that you could buy from a store to put on it would be the eyeballs, the split rings, and the hooks. Awesome. I make the bill myself, buy that in a big sheet of material, and cut out the bills and everything.
What kind of material do you use for the bill? Can you say?
Yeah, it's just it's called like just like a circuit board.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I just didn't know if it was something different.
It's essentially a type of a fiberglass is what it comes down to. But I don't make them out of balsa. We make them out of a composite that is the same density as balsa, so you get that same lively action that you do. It has the same buoyancy as balsa does, but it's a lot more durable, and it's also waterproof. So unlike the other, whenever you're working with all the other wood baits, anytime that you knock off a piece of that clear coat or whatever, wood has a tendency to soak up water, so you got to patch it real quick, make sure that it don't ever damage the bait. But with this material, you really don't have to worry about it. You can knock off the clear coat. It's not going to take on any water and, ruin the bait that way.
So I could kind of tell, but for people that aren't watching the stream and are listening on the podcast, not to compare them to like Strike King, but their sizing is kind of universal. What sizing is it? 1.5, 2.5?
It's about a 1.5 size.
Okay.
And kind of, if you're just listening, it's kind of the shape. I would compare it to a 1.5 and a man's -1, baby -1, and kind of the body shape, just to give you a general idea of kind of what that shape is.
Awesome.
So, yeah, you can see all the pictures and everything on our website. Talking about the durability, we've got a video where I actually hit one with a softball bat. And
I bet you that makes a really good noise.
It does. It's a nice little ting. I broke out one of the old aluminum bats, and we put the lure on a spinning rod. Had my wife holding it, and I was actually got the idea from Bill Lowen at the at the Tri-State Fishing Show this last winter. He's like, man, what you need to do with that is take it out there, tie it onto a rod, hit it with a bat, and reel it in. Show everybody it's still fine. So we actually went out this spring, and my wife and I actually shot that video. So,
that's impressive.
That's awesome. When you get on some good fish in the river one day, you should, like when you've got a kind of a frenzy going or something.
So bad.
Like you cast it with a softball bat and then hook a smallie.
That's a goal. I gotta say,
that's a great idea.
Just on that one target to do it. But yes, I do want to do it. I might have to go to Lake Erie or Lake St. Clair or something, but if I got to do it to get that video, that would be worth it.
No, that'll be one of those break the internet ones.
Yeah.
One more question was like, what size, what type of hook are you using? They looked really quality. Even split rings. A lot of guys that get real into technical baits, and if you're a person willing to pay this kind of money for a good quality bait, like you care about what split rings are on it. So what kind of hardware you got?
Using Worth split rings, and then for the treble hooks, I'm using the Mustad KVD Elite triple grips.
I love those hooks.
Yeah.
Use a number 4 on the front and a number 6 on the back. So,
nice.
Got the little number 4, or the bigger number 4 up there on the front, and then the number 6 treble hook there on the back. And yeah, those are the short shanks. So the spacing on it is just about right there where the hooks rarely ever will tangle up on one another. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of a key for me.
I'd hate to lose one of those.
Well, it's a square bill. It only runs about 4 foot. Your rod's longer than that. So
yeah, that's true. The I'm trying to think. The -1, is that what you called it? -1.
-1. Whitty
I would probably be more prone to throw that over the crankbait, I think, just for that reason.
That I used to throw the squares a lot, but that wake bait's been catching my interest lately. So, like you said, being able to either hold the rod tip up and run it like a wake bait, or put the rod tip down and get that a little bit deeper, that'd probably, and the flat-sided would probably be my jam.
Yeah, so you're down in Alabama, so I mean, if you're fishing some of those weed beds and stuff, wherever you got, 1.5 foot of water that's actually open above the weed bed, that -1 works really well with that too, because it gets right down to about the top of those weeds and doesn't get buried up in them.
Lake Gunnersville everywhere. Yep, I'm about to spend some money.
Yeah, I'm gonna get me some of those wake baits. I like you mentioned earlier in the show, you were talking about them for the small jaw brawl, and then right after you won that, Ryan Dahl goes out, starts catching fish with them, and then everybody sees that. Everybody sees what Ryan Dahl does because he's big name in the area, and they're like, I gotta get that.
Yeah.
So I see that, I'm like, I gotta get that now. I think you need to make him your pro staff manager.
Everywhere on the river, it seemed like we kind of fish the same areas, so
yeah,
I run into him.
Man, yeah. Talking to all you guys, up north of me, I'm gonna have some killer tactics to bring down here that nobody's doing. Between like this, you fishing exactly how I fished with crankbaits gives me confidence, and then like talking with we talked to him on the reel down or maybe it was on your show, Brad. I can't remember. The Secret Lures. We were talking about the stupid tubes.
Yeah, that was.
I think that was mine and Dad's show.
That was Brian's show, I thought.
Was it
Matt Gibson?
Oh no, yeah, we had Matt on for the Crossroads event because we covered.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's throwing it for fishing it the way I would be, and I talked to him afterwards, and he's telling me what that is, and I was like, yeah, dude, there's no one down here doing that. Like, so
interesting.
Hopefully people listen to our podcast, but hopefully they don't hold on to these golden nuggets of information we're getting. Like, I don't need anybody listening to this to buy that black and blue -1. If you live in Alabama, stay off of it. Everybody else is fair game, but I need to hit the water with that before anybody else does around here.
That's the one that has always caught my eye when I first saw your bait was the black and blue. That's my favorite color.
Yeah, that's a sleeper for a lot of people.
Do you have any other like crazy color patterns that you like? Because some bait companies throw like, what is that one called? Like tiger craw or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, just random colors thrown together. Do you have anything crazy?
No, nothing like that.
Good.
Kind of starting with the basics, just with us being as new as we are, and trying to get enough inventory and everything built up on the tried and true colors first, and then I'm always thinking about adding some more. I was working with a couple of guys actually that fish over on the Potomac, and they requested a couple of craw colors that I didn't have yet, and just kind of worked with them over a couple emails and some pictures and stuff, and made them up a custom craw color that they were looking for out there. And looking to add that one to the lineup here, hopefully this winter. Get a little bit of time, get some lights built, get some more baits painted up.
A fire craw color would do good, like a chili craw or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of similar to like a chili craw. Yeah. It's kind of similar to that hot craw that I got right there.
Yeah.
Except instead of the darker red, it's more of a kind of greenish back to it.
Ooh.
And we worked with that one a little bit of back and forth, and finally got something that they were pretty happy with, and I was pretty happy with. So I got all my recipes wrote down, and
me and you don't have to talk. I'm gonna get you. We're gonna get you down here in the South. We're gonna get some straight up Southern colors.
Hey, it's been a while since I've been down to Gunnersville. It's probably been.
I live 45 minutes from there. Come on down. I got a room you can stay in. I got the spots I can show you because we fish the same. You could bring your jet boat, and I could probably get further up some of these spots.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I get down there, man, I'm looking for the Coosa. I want to catch giant Coosas.
No, the Coosa's great. They just had the big Hobie tournament down there last weekend, and one of the Birmingham guys, it's actually two of them, they were first and second the weekend before at the state championship, and then they swapped, kind of, and the guy that was in second won, and the guy that won the state came in third. But 2 solid weekends of hammering. Like, I want to say they ended up with the winner had one of day was 98 inches of Coosa spots, which is insane.
That is.
Wow.
I want to say that there were it was either 11 largemouth or 11 anglers that had largemouth. But
wow.
Everything else was spotted bass. That's insane.
Yeah. So we might have to do a trader trip. You come up here and we'll play around with my jet drive. I'll run down there and we can go hammer on some Gunnersville ones.
Oh, for sure, man. Whenever you want to come down here, you just holler at me. I've kind of worked out my job thing where I can start traveling a lot more during the year, so we can work it out. I'll let you know, like if you want to like frog fish or something crazy on Gunnersville that like it's known for. We can time a trip.
Awesome.
We can trade a trip. I've tried that with Brad, but Brad won't leave his house. So.
No, I'm just not I don't like being in a car for over like 4 hours, I guess.
Didn't fly.
You have to go get some good fishing in, man. Erie's 3 hours away. St.
Clair's
Clair's 4 hours away.
I know.
I've been to Grand Lake. I've been down to Gunnersville, and I'll gladly jump in the car and get somewhere.
Oh, man. Like, that's why I keep telling him, man. If I could get Brad down here one night, catch him a 22 or 23-inch monster on a frog in the heavy grass that he has to drag himself to the fish.
I was going to say in a yak, that's got to be crazy.
Yes. That one that he was talking about before that I caught, like I didn't bring it to me at all. I brought me to it, and which sucked because I had done one of those stupid casts where I just bombed it as far as I could. It made it like 4.5 feet, and it smoked it. And I like, if I had been videoing, you would have heard me cuss because as soon as it hit and I knew I had it, I was like, great. This is going to take a minute.
Pitch out.
So a few more questions here. Is it anything extra for like a custom crankbait?
I'm not doing any custom bodies or anything, different sizes or anything like that. But colors, I mean, just depends upon what it is. I did a few customs for people, but honestly, I'm not the most detailed guy out there painting like some of the other custom painters out there that actually do, amazing work where everything looks exactly like a fish or whatever. That's not quite me. So I kind of pick and choose the custom colors that I've had people ask me for.
That's like I have a friend in Tennessee custom paint, and he can do some crazy realistic stuff. But like once I pay you for that, I don't want to throw it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like your method of it more, where it's like I could call you with a custom pattern. Like, hey, you don't have a fire crawl. You think you could do me a fire crawl similar to this? But like, if you sent me something that was like, it looked like its gills were flaring and its eyes were reflecting, I'd be like, no, this one's going on the wall. Like, can't throw that.
Yeah.
Because that'll be the one that I lose to a gar or something, something with teeth.
That's true. I never even thought about that.
Dude, I would cry.
We don't have very many fish up here in the river where you can lose your stuff to.
Saw guy, get you every now and then. We're starting to see more northern pike.
Yeah.
There's getting to be more and more of them.
Yeah, so, that's cool.
Those you got to watch out for.
We were just talking about it that we're starting to see. We have saugeye down here, but we're starting to see more of them. And then walleye have been showing up in the Tennessee River on our end, which is unheard of because the water gets so warm.
Yeah, that is.
But there was more than one occasion this year in the spring. Somebody caught a fish and posted it and was like, "Check out this saugeye." And then like, somebody in Fish and Game was like, "No, that's a walleye. We need to know where you caught it." Like, so they can monitor it and stuff like that. Oh, crazy.
Interesting. I guess the last question I have is, start to finish, how long does one bait take?
Probably close to an hour and a half. And that's building them in batches. So, I don't just sit down and make one at a time. And, I try to build 40 at a time, all through, step 1, step 2, step 3. And
I feel like it's actually a lot faster than I thought. Like that's
it's taken me some down to that. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a lot of little things that you learn and to be more efficient at making them and stuff. So
that's awesome.
It definitely helps making them in batches. Like I said, normally I'll run through batches of about 40. So I'll sit down and, do all the painting at one time, sit down, cut out all the different shapes at one time and put all the bills in at the same time and all that stuff. So it makes it a little bit more efficient when you do it that way.
You're doing it completely solo though? Just you?
My wife and I. Yeah, my wife helps a little bit build some of the wires because we run a through wire on those baits. Mm-hmm. So that's all one wire all the way from the nose down to the belly to the tail. So we build a jig up to make the wire, and I'll get the wire started, and my wife will sit down there and bend them all out using the jig. That way we can put them together.
That's awesome. Sick. That's awesome.
Definitely a process.
I didn't realize how in depth it was. That's cool.
Well, that's what I was going to touch on. Is most people, and I'm not calling out any company, but a lot of guys that they're like, yeah, they're handmade, they're hand painted.
Yeah.
But you buy clear blanks, and there's nothing against that. Some of these guys that put some of these detailed paint jobs on are insane.
Amazing. Yes.
But like yours is legitimate, start to finish.
I made it. Yes.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Like he said, you hear somebody say handmade, you think just paint job and stuff. But yeah, I've never actually talked to anybody that's made it start to finish like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I definitely got to grab some.
Took quite a while, I mean, even just searching for the material that I found that I was happy with, because I didn't want to do balsa. There's a bunch of guys out there that make handmade balsas. They're great baits, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So
One other question I meant to ask earlier and dodged it was, do they suspend or do they rise or?
they rise fast.
Awesome.
They float very high.
See, that's great. If you break one off and something didn't eat it, you're going to get it back. Typically.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep, they float up good. I was going to say when Brad said about losing one, about the only times I've came close to losing them here in Ohio even is the Great Miami is bad about having pieces of carpet in it.
Oh yeah.
Snagged a piece of carpet or not, but it is about impossible to get the bait back out of that.
Down here you have like grain sacks because a lot of the creeks I fish are in between farmland, and you get a good storm and they get blown out, and you hook one of those and they will not tear. You will not get it off that log. Like it's gone.
If you get a good line, the Worth split rings that I use are, I think, rated out to about 15, either 12 or 15 pounds. So, if you're running some good line and you don't have any nicks or whatever, I have actually straightened out a split ring to get one back before.
Jeez.
So everything else held up great on the bait. But yeah, the split ring was the weak link, and luckily I was throwing it on a rod I probably shouldn't have had it on, and I had 20-pound test on it just because it was what I had available at the time. So I threw it on it and started using it. But luckily I pulled it actually out of the carpet. I'm sure it was carpet. I don't know. Couldn't see it, but I actually pulled it out, pulled the split ring straight, and put a new hook and split ring on it. Kept fishing that day.
Jeez, I've never done that. I've straightened hooks. I've never straightened a split ring. That's insane.
Well, it's just a matter of, the treble hooks there, those KVD ones are.
Oh yeah, you're not going to bend that hook.
Some of the other ones. So, and then the split rings, I don't like running big, heavy ones on it. The one on the nose is a bigger one. I think it's rated up to maybe 20-pound test or something like that. But the ones holding the hooks on are either 12 or 15, I think. So.
Oh, I got one other question. How has the pandemic affected your process? I mean, hard to find materials?
Not too bad. Just because I had enough available beforehand. I did have one issue trying to get some tungsten weights because I do use tungsten weights inside of it. Where I ran out and I had to wait on building more for about a month before the place got some more in that I could get. So other than that, I mean, I had enough hooks and everything on hand for all the baits I've been building. I still got, I think I probably got 300 or so hooks left because I buy them by the 1,000. So got to buy a bunch of them to.
Dude, I cry when I buy like a 6-pack or 8-pack or whatever they come in. Those are good hooks. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I told my started this was, I'm going to use the stuff that I believe in, and I'm not going to cut the corners on it. And, I just really like those hooks. I have for a long time, and, you can buy them in bulk. So
I'm surprised. I mean, you're keeping KVD afloat right now, bro. Like he's not got tour wins going on, so you're keeping him in business by buying his hooks.
I do got one more good story for you guys here on why we actually started the business.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's a funny story. So my wife and I was fishing a tournament down on the Ohio River, and we're fishing a lot of shallow backwater areas, and we're coming up on this shallow rocky bank, and I put her on a brand new, really shallow running, mass-produced crankbait. Just got it out of the box that morning, tied it on, and we're sitting at the ramp. I'm like, this will probably play today. So we get to the spot, and I'm like, hey, you need to probably pick that crankbait up and throw it up by these rocks. So she picks it up, throws it out there, boom, hits a rock, reels it back. We're like, this is funny. One cast with it, knocked the bill off the bait. It happens. But it's like that was the very first cast of that bait. So I kind of put it off to the side, and about a month or so later, I was like, do you remember when you broke the bill of that crankbait during the tournament? She's like, not really. Why? I was like, well, I kind of have been about it ever since. I was like, I think we can make crankbaits and make something better than what's out there. And something than what's out there. And, we talked about it and thought about it and just kind of ran through different business plans, which I had no idea on how to do and everything coming into this because I definitely wasn't a business-minded person coming into this. I'm just somebody that likes to make stuff, So went through everything and started running the numbers and figuring stuff out. I'm like, I think this is actually can be a legitimate deal, that we can actually make this work. And after about 2 years of thinking about it, we started it up, went full bore on it. So
that's crazy.
Kind of story will start here. So right now, I still look at my wife and say, all this time that we're putting into this is your fault. So
100.
Is this your full-time gig?
Recently, yeah, it actually has turned out to be, just
That's
because
awesome.
we wanted one of us to be there for our boy, and it made more sense for me to leave my full-time job and be a dad, and then also run this business, than it did for her to leave hers. So yeah, so now this is left my full-time gig, being a dad. That's and awesome. Also trying to kick off Whitty Outdoors and see how far we can grow it.
With you growing, do you have, like, not that a big name matters, but have you been able to get your baits in the hands of any, like, bigger names in the fishing industry yet?
I've got a few in a couple of the BASS guys' hands, just from talking with them at shows and stuff. And so, yeah, I got a few out there with that. Of course, all of them have bigger sponsors and everything else out there. So I don't really ask anything of them. I just asked them. Actually, Bill Loam was kind of one of them. That was a fun guy to talk to. He's kind of a local for our area. He's not too far away from here, over in Indiana. And it was good talking with him and throwing that idea out. And like I said, he was the one that gave me the idea on shooting a little video of hitting one of ours with a softball bat and ran back in showing that.
Well, as far as like the kayak, it's true with all fishermen, but like kayak guys, man, we believe in gear just like any angler. But as of now, most of the guys in our industry are paying for it themselves. You don't have, or they're getting discounts, but they're not getting stuff handed to them. I can think of a couple of big names in our industry right now that I know that are huge crankbait guys. Yeah. And there's one in particular that is all about, Rapala balsa baits. I would love to get a few of your baits to him and just see if I could steer him away from it.
Yeah.
And like our industry, like I said, if one of these guys use it, the rest of them will buy it. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it could be a definite, we could get you involved in the kayak industry.
I'd love to.
Easy. That'd be sick.
I talked to kayak guys, but it's because I'm out there in my jet, and they're out there in their kayaks. So I talked to a bunch of kayak guys, but I don't know it very well still. I try to keep up with it, learn more and more on it, and the kayak side is growing crazy how fast it's growing.
Yeah, that's like you were saying, like talking with Bassmaster individuals, like we've got that in the kayak world now, and we've got what they call the big three is the Hobie, the Bassmaster, and the KBF, and you've got not quite household names, but you've got big names in the industry that people really follow, like Craig Dye and Jody Queen and Russ Snyder, Cody Milton, and like one of those guys in particular is a big crankbait guy that I trust his judgment on crankbaits, but I just wonder if, as well built as you talk about these, and like I'd like to get a few of them in his hand and just see if it open his eyes to it. I just think it'd be fun.
Yeah. Reach out to him.
I will. I'm legit. I'm gonna message him probably in the morning. He's fishing the national championship, so I'm sure he's getting turned in and getting ready for the first day of that tomorrow.
I'll tell you this. When I was going through my prototyping of that flat 6, I had 2 of them made because I was still trying to work out some of the details of it with the lip angle, the lip size, and all the bill placement and everything. And I was catching some largemouth on a gravel pit that connects to the Great Miami River. And I was doing roll casts up underneath some trees and stuff that was hanging down, and it was fall of the year. And I make this roll cast, and I go, pop! Well, I hit the trolling motor as I'm doing the roll cast, and I'm like, oh no, I've only got like 2 of these. This is making me sick. Reel the thing in, and it was actually still okay. I put a good dent in it. I put a good dent right here in the belly of it where I hit the trolling motor with the bait, but it actually didn't blow up like I was expecting it to do. Like I would expect a lot of other wood baits to be able to not be able to take that abuse. So,
if you hit one with a softball bat, I'm pretty sure it can take a whack at a trolling motor.
Well, the problem is with the flat side, there's not as much material there as there is round body. So, you know, I mean, there can only be so strong, and it's not a miracle material, but I do believe it's a little better than the balsa is out there.
It's the same thing with, like you said, with the bills.
Yeah.
Spro is a company I can think of that went with that bill
Yep.
pretty heavy, and they are harder to break, but you can break it.
Yeah.
I've broken a few.
Yep.
I can probably tell you what brand he's talking about, the bill falling off, because I literally had that happen last weekend. Like, same thing. Like, wasn't first cast, but like by the end of the day, and I hadn't thrown it that much.
Yeah.
And when I was hooking it back on the rod to put the rod up, I was like, "Are you serious? Like, I just got this."
Yeah.
I've broken a few of them out of that model that happened to, but it was never on the very first cast of it.
No,
I was like, it just made me sick.
Heck yeah.
Well, we're
But
winding down here, guys.
So,
Yeah. Well, we're winding down here, so I guess we'll give you the floor. I'll let you guys let you know where everybody can find you. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
yeah, everything is Whitty Outdoors. If you do a search for Whitty Outdoors on Facebook, Instagram, you'll find us there. YouTube, I'm working on getting more stuff out there for our business on the YouTube side. I've got a lot of video I actually shot over the summer and just haven't had the time to record it yet. There you go.
That's his website. I loved it. The first thing I saw, it says, "This ain't your granddad's square bill."
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I thought of that as I was actually putting the website together. I'm like, ooh, I kind of like that. Typed it up. It's pretty good.
My favorite thing is like when it rolled by, it said "better than balsa." I was like, "Oh yeah."
Yep.
I like it.
Awesome.
Well, cool, man. Appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your product, talking a little bit about it. It's been
it's great
fun. Yeah, I had fun learning about the process and actually learning that the whole thing is completely handmade. That blows my mind.
Handmade as 100% as that gets.
Heck
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
And your success story.
books yet, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and your success story is awesome. I'm rooting for you now. That's awesome.
yeah, man, we gotta get you to, you know, we help brands that, you know, we believe in and stuff. We'll try some out, of course, and we'll do you like Gat Gadgets. Since Gat Gadgets came in with accessories for boats and the promoting everybody does for him, he's just too busy to keep up. So we got to get you to that point.
Oh, it'd be awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah, and whenever you come out with any other new products or anything, let us know. We'll have you back on to talk
Heck
about
yeah.
it.
Sounds good. I've got a couple of baits that I've been kind of working on, but then everything's just kind of been on the back burner for right now. But get a little more time, hopefully this winter, and I got a couple other things that a little deeper diving baits, a couple of different sizes I'd like to do. But you know, when you're 1-2 person shop, it takes a little bit of time, and it definitely takes time going through all the prototyping stages of it. So it's a fun part, but it just takes a little bit of time too.
Heck yeah.
Jimmy, final thoughts? Anything?
I need another credit card. That's my final thought.
There we go. Me too. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week, and have a good weekend.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Ketch Products, shout out to Ketch Products. Go to ketchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.